So what actually happens when a single open-source AI agent gets so powerful, so incredibly viral, and so ruthlessly efficient that it quite literally breaks the backbone of the internet? We're not talking about some sci-fi movie plot here. We're talking about the reality of early 2026. This was a moment when the entire global tech sector was thrown into a total panic by a tool that you could run right from your own laptop.
You know, when Lex Fridman dropped episode 491, he introduced his guest's creation with a phrase that absolutely nailed the sheer scale of the disruption. He called it a viral AI agent described as having broken the internet. And honestly, that wasn't hyperbole. No way. This was a direct, on-the-ground observation of a massive, unprecedented shift in computing that caught even the trillion-dollar tech giants completely off guard.
Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're unpacking exactly how the OpenClaw AI agent revolution went from a lone developer's weekend hobby project, completely bypassed the traditional software adoption curve, triggered a panic-driven corporate arms race, and permanently altered the physical and economic architecture of our tech world.
Okay, let's dive into Section 1, the viral agent revolution, from hobby project to historic disruption.
To really understand this disruption, we have to talk about the mastermind behind it, a developer named Peter Steinberger. He originally built this little hobby project called Moltbot, which eventually became OpenClaw, basically just to automate his own mundane tasks. But when he open-sourced it, the adoption didn't just grow, it went completely vertical. And the reason why is brilliantly simple. Instead of forcing you to log into some clunky corporate portal, OpenClaw ran locally on your own machine. It plugs straight into the apps you're already using every day, like WhatsApp, Telegram, even Twitch. You could literally just text it to clear your inbox, manage your calendar, or check you into a flight. It acted entirely autonomously as your own personal digital team, using new models like Kimi K2.5 in the background. It basically put a massive AI brain directly into the consumer's pocket.
Which brings us to Section 2, Breaking the Internet, the unprecedented strain on big tech.
Think about what happens when you hand millions of people an autonomous agent that just endlessly queries foundation models to complete complex, multi-step tasks. It is an absolute nightmare for the companies hosting those models. The speed of this cycle was terrifying. In late January 2026, OpenClaw officially launches. Almost instantly, total chaos. By mid-February, Google and OpenAI are sounding the alarm about competitors like DeepSeek using distillation attacks to copy their model's reasoning. Literally the next day, talk about a frantic weekend. Sam Altman swoops in and hires Peter Steinberger to build OpenAI's next-gen agents, while OpenClaw spins off into an independent foundation. Then, the real breaking point hits. On April 6th, Anthropic is forced to outright ban standard subscribers from using third-party agent tools like OpenClaw.
So the crucial point is really captured by one highly specific number, 98.82%. That is the absolute best 90-day uptime Anthropic's Claude.ai could manage. It's severely degraded. The sheer volume of these autonomous agents hammering their APIs created such insane capacity constraints that they had to force third-party tool usage into expensive, paid extra usage bundles just to stop their servers from melting down. The AI infrastructure of the internet was literally buckling under the weight of OpenClaw's success.
And that massive wake-up call triggers Section 3, the corporate arms race. Mega acquisitions and strategic pivots. Big tech suddenly realized that if they didn't control this agentic AI narrative, an open-source tool was going to eat their entire business model. The scale of the panic here is wild when you compare it to a single developer's open-source tool. Anthropic locks down a jaw-dropping $30 billion Series G funding round, pushing their valuation to $380 billion. Meanwhile, Elon Musk's SpaceX reportedly jumps into a $60 billion agreement to buy the AI coding platform Cursor. And Alphabet? They announced an equity capital raise of $84.75 billion, specifically to build out their AI infrastructure and compute power. We are talking about hundreds of billions of dollars mobilized in a matter of weeks, strictly for survival.
And this brilliantly illustrates how the two heavyweights in the space panicked and pivoted in completely opposite directions to secure the enterprise market. OpenAI pivoted hard from being just a consumer app to launching the OpenAI Deployment Company. They bought a consulting firm called Tomorrow and literally started parachuting forward-deployed engineers into corporate offices to hand-build custom workflows. Anthropic, on the other hand, took a totally different route. They leaned heavily into cybersecurity with Project Glasswing, deploying their unreleased Claude Mythos model to hunt for vulnerabilities in power grids and water systems, all while quietly filing for a $1 trillion IPO. They figured out that the addressable market for enterprise process automation was 10 times bigger than just writing software. But moving into the enterprise space brought up a huge issue, which brings us to Section 4, sandboxing the AI threat, taming the autonomous enterprise. Because an untethered autonomous bot reading the CEO's private emails? Yeah, that is a CISO's literal worst nightmare. Letting a wild agent like OpenClaw run loose inside a corporate network where it can touch proprietary data was a massive roadblock. So, the industry had to step up. Microsoft rolled out Microsoft Execution Containers, or MXC. Think of MXC as a highly secure sandbox that lets companies define exactly what an AI agent is allowed to access, turning it from a massive security risk into a governable tool. OpenAI quickly followed with an optional lockdown mode for ChatGPT, giving IT admins the granular power to disable deep research and active agent modes to prevent accidental data leaks and prompt injections. The mechanics of this are actually pretty elegant. It's essentially a three-step process that contains the risky business while keeping the AI autonomous and running fast. Step 1. Basic, allow listed tasks just run immediately. Zero friction. Step 2. Anything that seems even slightly risky gets boxed into a secure execution sandbox so it absolutely cannot touch the real system. Step 3. A separate classifier agent jumps in to review that boxed task. It autonomously decides whether to allow it, block it based on safety protocols, or just ping the human user and ask for manual approval. It's autonomy, but perfectly contained.
And that leads us to Section 5, the new agent economy, the permanent alteration of tech.
Their security breakthroughs really opened the floodgates. By mid-2026, we weren't just talking about chatbots or cool coding assistants anymore. To put the sheer scale of this inflection point into perspective, check out the data from SemiAnalysis. By early 2026, Anthropic's Claude Code was independently authoring 4% of all public commits on GitHub. Now, 4% might sound like a small slice of the pie, but 4% of global open source code being entirely written, tested, and submitted by an autonomous entity? That means human developers might need to start seriously rethinking their career paths. It was the exact moment AI agents truly began dominating software engineering.
Let's move to the macro picture and see how this builds up, because the ripple effects are staggering. With AI agents now able to dynamically spin up dashboards and single-use apps on the fly, Wall Street realized traditional software was facing obsolescence. We literally saw $730 billion wiped from vertical SaaS stocks almost overnight. And on the hardware side, we're witnessing a complete redesign of physical computing architecture. There's a massive capital shift toward local edge silicon so that our devices can run these autonomous models natively. Alphabet's $85 billion mobilization, that is just the down payment on this brand new era of infrastructure.
We started this explainer looking at a single developer's open source weekend project, and we've ended up at the precipice of a completely restructured global economy. The tools are already here. They're running locally on your devices right now, and they are fully capable of orchestrating entire corporate workflows without you. So I'll leave you with this one question to think about. With autonomous agents completely rewriting the rules of the enterprise from the ground up, who is going to be the true boss in this new economy? You or the AI? Thanks for joining us for this explainer. We'll catch you in the next one.